My name is Franz-Albrecht Oettingen-Spielberg, and I've dedicated my life to understanding and hunting Europe's most magnificent game species. Join me as I share my passion and field experience in the management and pursuit of my favorite five, where conservation, ethical hunting and sustainable management guide every decision we make.
So, fresh start. It's a wonderful, quiet evening. Perfect weather. But we've been after these stags the whole month now. We've really only had the one really good run-in with them. I want to go back to that piece of the forest where we saw them, because it looks like there's quite a bit of new rubbings and markings in that area, and I think they might be somewhere around there. We're gonna sit inside the forest where there's some lanes that they use to move out and into this bit of forestry. Hopefully we'll see them while it's still good light. Once the light goes down in the middle of the forest, I want to go into the field. There's a field where I believe that they might be going out to later that night, later in the evening. So we'll first be in the forest and then we'll move into the field later.
Now, this is an interesting stag. We only have one cast antler. You can see he has a lot of mass. He has a normal brow, a bay, a tray tine, and then he almost has like a second tray tine, which is of course part of the crown, and he has 3 extra points in the crown. So he's on this side only a 14 pointer, so 7 points. This is a cast antler from 3 or 4 years ago, and we called him the 4.5 kilo stag because this antler weighs 4.5 kilograms. We didn't really find a more original name because he's just a relatively standard looking stag. And then if you look at him from the pictures of the roar last year, he got a lot bigger to what he was when he was carrying this side. And you can see that the coronets are already really far down on the head, and he's generally one of the stags. He's always had a very big body, but he has a very youngish look about him. He has a relatively young looking face and a young looking neck. So I've always been careful to push him not into the older categories, but to start him off younger. 7 years ago when we started getting the first, or really realizing that he is a particular stag from his horns. He's a stag that has been with us during the roar, and he's not always there, so he moves around quite a bit in the roar. He's always with us in the summers when he grows his antlers, and we have fantastic pictures of him in velvet this year, and you can see the jump that he made from last year to this year. His mass has just exploded. I mean, he's always been a massive stag. You can see down here that even 5 years ago, he was a heavy stag. But the jump that he made from last year to this year is significant. And there's a few times in the younger years of a stag where stags make big jumps usually. But this jump that he made is a jump in the older years, and I think this year is the right year to take him. I've thought a lot about it. I've talked to our team about it, but he's got more points, he's thicker and he's longer, and his coronets have now become so big that they hardly fit on his head, and they're really on the side like that, which I'm not saying is 100% clear of a sign of age. to really know a stag and to know his age and to do good management and to be sustainable in your population, you have to know them year by year. You have to take a lot of pictures and you have to keep a logbook of each animal to not make mistakes and shoot them too young. I would say a big set of antlers shows the general state of that particular population of red deer. Is it healthy? Is it genetically in a good spot? Are there enough genetic variants in that population? I would say antler growth is one indicator of the health of a population, but the second, maybe even the more important one, is the body size. As long as there's a good body weight and the body weight is stable and maybe even slightly increasing over a certain period of time, usually that shows that the population is healthy. And if then on top you have a strong set of antlers, that of course gives you an indicator that the population is doing great. But you always have to define that by the regional genetic capabilities. If you go to the Scottish Highlands, a stag will weigh probably a third of a Hungarian stag, and the skull size is probably only slightly bigger than a big fallow buck. And if you go to Romania, to the Carpathian Mountains, you will have stags that have live weights maybe 350 kilograms. So it really depends. You need to compare each population to the median within that population. And you can't generalize over all red deer in the world.
Okay, this is the place where I want to wait for half an hour, until the light is gone. We saw the stags maybe 200 meters that way. Now we have a really deep little valley on our right with heavy cover. And you can see that there's quite a lot of these pathways that they use. And I'm expecting, or I'm hoping, that one or two of the ones that we were looking for are bedded down somewhere here. And that then they will move out to that field that we can just see on the other side of these trees. And hopefully, if they come out early enough, we'll be able to see them here in the forest and take a shot. If not, we'll try and go out to the field a little later.
I have my Svemco Magnum 1.0 standard sound moderator, which I use on the 338. What I love about these is that you can literally put them on with a quarter turn. So I don't have to go around and turn it, I don't know how many times to get it on and to take it off. It's just a quarter turn. So what does that do? Firstly, of course, it's much more comfortable because you have to take them off every night after hunting for none of the residue to go back into the barrel and for it to damage your barrel. That happens with all sound moderators, so you have to be careful. But at the same time, carrying a rifle around, especially when you're in the roar or especially when you're stalking a lot, it becomes a little bulky and it becomes heavy, of course, or heavier. So what I prefer is I take it off and I use my holster that I have on my hunting belt here. This actually currently carries my 6.5 Creedmoor caliber Svemco, and this is the Hunter 1.0 standard. So here you see the difference between the Magnum and the standard. There's really not that much different. The Magnum is slightly longer and slightly thicker, but both of them fit into my holster here One is a little bigger, so it uses this bottom hole. The other one is a little smaller, so I can use the top hole. And I really enjoy, carrying them in the holster and being able to put them on and take them off as quickly as I can with these. Moderating wise, they're amazing. They take all the sound off that I need them to take off, so it's better for the game because there's less stress, but it's also much better for my ears, which have taken a lot of damage over the years. So I'm happy to have these.
There's something in the forest on the other side of the field. It's too big to be a fallow, but I can't really see. It's still too far in. But it's definitely big-bodied. I don't think it's boar, I don't think it's fallow, it must be red deer. Two stags. Two stags. I think one of them. I haven't been able to see the crowns, but from the brow tine, it looks like it's ours. There's two stags. One of them looks like it's ours. I'm not 100% sure. But we have to get a little bit closer to the field. Once we get onto the ridge, we can see the field. Now the field has lots of different valleys, but I think if we get onto the next ridge, we should see them. If they come out, they looked like they were just about to step out from where I saw them. I'm trying to get to this tree right in front of us, which is on top of the ridge. And from there, hopefully we can see down into the valley where we just saw him cross into. That's him. That's him. I can't get a shot. The wind. Wind. Wind is changing, we gotta go. 5 Creedmoor. I went just in front of his front leg, and I think I squeezed it in there between neck and shoulder, so it should have gone through all his vitals. I felt like the reaction was good. And I heard something crash in the background in the forest, but it's dark inside, so maybe he just, and there's 2 of them. These stags. Okay, we've got to give him time. I think we'll just wait. Give him a bit of time. Oh, it's like... Oh. You're after them for such a long time, and then suddenly everything comes together within a few minutes. And it's overwhelming. It truly is overwhelming. Shot was, I think, 190 meters. 100, maybe 200, but not more. My rest was good. I had my right elbow on my right knee, and I had a stable left side with the stick. I felt very comfortable with the shot, and also I squeezed the shot off. I didn't rush it, so that all felt well. It felt good. My magnification wasn't on too high, so I could see the impact on the animal, and I liked that. And also the way he stumbled towards the forest. He didn't look like he was going to go far. And then the crashing inside, I also really... It all looks good, but you just never know. They got a little bit of wind, I could just feel while we came over the ridge. I could feel the wind turn. It's been steady all night. And it took our wind down there for maybe, 10, 15 seconds. And immediately I could hear them. There was like some commotion down there. And not long, I could see them running up towards that hill. And the only way we were going to get a shot is to make distance towards further down this ridge, because up here all the undergrowth was so high I couldn't shoot even from the high sticks. I wasn't going to get a shot. Crazy. Okay, let's make our way down here alongside this forest ridge, and then we'll cut into the field. I think it's all good, but let's have a look.
For me, red deer is a spectacular species, and I have the utmost respect for them. I mean, having them in the forest is a blessing in the way that they just are the most majestic, big, and then at the same time quiet and ghosty at times of the year, and then at some times of the year kings of the forest, and an absolutely fascinating species. And I have spent many years traveling all around Europe. I've also been to New Zealand numerous times to try and study as much as possible about this species. And we know much more about red deer than we do about roe deer. And there's been many studies done on red deer, but still I get surprised every year, and I learn new things every year, and it's a spectacular species.
I've had a pretty short night. I've been so overwhelmed by all the experiences we had yesterday that I hardly slept. It's something that really gets to me emotionally. It's difficult to explain, I think, but I'm sure that some of you can relate to what I'm saying. After so many weeks of hunting the stag, we finally managed to have the right strategy and be at the right place at the right time last night. The shot was not quite as easy maybe as it looked, because when I did the cow call, his body swerved around towards us, so he was more quartering towards us than a fully broadside shot. And with these stags, even though you think you have a very big target area, much bigger than a roe deer, the actual area, the kill area, where you bring the stag down within, let's say, 50, 60, 70 meters, is not that big. I would say it's probably a football, maybe a little bit bigger than a football, of where the heart and the main lung part is that you need to hit. And you really need to see, depending on how the stag is standing, whether he's standing fully broadside, slightly quartering to, slightly quartering away, you need to really pinpoint that bullet into the spot where it needs to be to hit that football. And in this particular situation, the shot was slightly quartering towards us, so I had to put the bullet really at the base of the neck, in front of the shoulder, in the base of the neck, for the bullet to diagonally cross through lungs and heart, and then the bullet was stuck just behind the shoulder underneath the other side. Now, we managed to find the projectile, which is the 143 grain ELD-X in 6.5 Creedmoor, and I think you couldn't paint better bullet performance if you wanted to. It has enough weight retention, but still was destructive inside the vital parts, and the stag didn't go further than 70, 80 meters, even though he was full of adrenaline because he had caught wind. So I think it goes to show that it's not really only the caliber size, but it's much more important what projectile you're using. And I find the ELD-X, I've shot it in many different calibers, from 308 to 6.5 to 6 millimeter to 338, 3006. I mean, I've tried it in many, and it's my go-to projectile that I like to use, because it's very good at long distances, but it still has perfect performance at short distances as well, and it's highly precise. And those three things are rarely combined in one projectile. And the ELD-X, now I've used it for 10, I don't know, more than 10 years, let's say I am impressed every time I use it. The most prominent or special part of this red stag is definitely its mass. Now, if you look at the bottom part, especially the coronets, and then down here, the mass that he carries all the way up to the tips, and the length of his brow, bay, and tray tine, the crowns, the color is really special. So for our standards, he is way above average, and we've known him for a long, long time. Now, these we call Grandeln in German. I'm not really sure what they're called in English, but they are the leftover evolutionary teeth which are in the top jaw, just behind or underneath the nose. On each side there's one of these, and they are also part of the trophy that the hunter gets given. And depending on how they're colored and the size of them, they're either more beautiful or less beautiful. We always say that if they have this dark color, you can see the head of a woodcock painted on them, and this particular one has that. So he has very beautiful Grandeln, and I put them in a nice wooden box to save them, and it's an added memory to each stag. Now I think you can really see the true quality of this stag, and I'm still completely overwhelmed by what he looks like. Not only the color, how dark he is, but I mean, there's nothing that this stag is missing. He has a little bit of abnormalities in his crown. The mass he carries from, I mean, basically all the way through, but especially down here in the coronets. The circumference of the coronets down here is nearly 33 centimeters on both sides, which is unheard of for us here. And yeah, he's a stag that I will for sure, I mean, I remember all my stags, but he is something that I will cherish for a long, long time. And he will be taken, as all the trophies have to be, in March of next year, so in 6 or 7 months. He will be taken to the local hunting association, and there he will be valued. I mean, they will take all the measurements, and then he will also be scored, of course, which I think is an interesting tool because it gives a very good understanding of how a red deer population is doing. If you have the scores of all the stags hunted in that particular population, that's not only our area, but it's a huge area of many neighbors that all bring their trophies to the same point. Then the stags and the fallow bucks and so on, everything gets measured, and you have a very good understanding over many decades of how the population is doing, and you can make a great evaluation of how the population is health-wise. So I look forward to that, but aside from any score, he's just a stag that, yeah, makes me quite speechless. And the hunt was an incredible experience, but of course I need to thank mostly and foremost the team behind everything that we do, no matter whether it's the hunting side or the forestry side or in the office. This is really something, no matter which species I talk about, is not something that is done by myself. It really needs an incredibly professional and dedicated team to get all of this done and to get everything under one hat. I mean, now, beginning of September, the roe deer female population culling begins. Then we also do a lot of culling of the red deer, not only on the driven hunts. We use the driven hunt as a management tool, of course, as well, but not everything can be done on driven hunts. And then, yeah, generally the whole management around the year. So thank you to all of you. You know who you are, and it wouldn't be half the enjoyment without all of you.